Can we just take a minute to appreciate the joke that they ended up doing with Anna this week in Dad's Been Reincarnated? So, they start pretty quickly into the episode that, like, oh, Anna can't fit into her skirt, so she must have packed on a few extra pounds. And by the end of the episode, you get the punchline of like, oh, we're blaming the dad because apparently the dad is the reason why she is fat, because he said a couple of words like, I love when I see you eat food, you look so happy. So she decides to get the platter 10,000, and okay, she got fat from that. Essentially assaulting her. I mean, how dare you let this girl pack on a few pounds and not fit into her favorite skirt? You might as well just say she's pathetic at that point. Just, you can't do that. That's basically assaulting them to the maximum degree, only for them to bait and switch us and say, actually, she didn't even pack on fat. No, with all those excess calories, she started training harder and she packed on muscle. The fact that she can't fit into that skirt not because she's fat, but because she gained muscle. That is such a funny bait and switch. And you just think they're building into like a generic, oh, it's the haha, you got me fat. Pretty much you're assaulting my self-esteem. Only for it to turn out that she's freaking out for like the dumbest reason. It already would have been the dumbest reason, but I just thought that was such a brilliant joke. Like, I mean, there's so many of those little moments in this episode, or just this series in general, that turns this show into such a perfect 10 out of 10 that really is not able to be compared to any show. Like, not even just like Villainess shows, just anime in general. It's such a unique beast that I'm absolutely loving it. Of course, we got to mention, do you have the full live reactions? If you want to see my full thoughts on these episodes, you want to support my work, got the Patreon over there exclusively if you're so interested. So, I said it last week, and I'm going to say it again. Felt more like an OVA episode than a typical, like, episode in a season. And I'm not saying that as an insult. If you didn't watch last week's video, same thing. It's just, they're doing things in a way that don't feel like, I guess maybe the first, say, 5 episodes felt more like it fit into a normal season, like we're progressing to a certain point. And now it feels like more we're in the off season, where we're seeing other things you wouldn't normally see, which is important. It helps flesh out the world, stuff like the father, stuff like little magic tournaments, but it feels like less of like we're going to a specific plot point these days, and more so we're just kind of going off on little side quests. Like maybe that's the best way to describe it. Rather than the dad going through the main quest line anymore, it feels more like we're looking at side quests in a video game, right? Which I actually am really enjoying, but it does have me interested what their ending point of season 1 will be, because obviously he's not getting out of the game unless they do an anime original ending, which I have said I'd be okay with, and if we got a season 2, you could just say this is what happened before that happened, but I doubt we're even going to see that. But the big star attraction of this episode for me was actually her father, so we get to be introduced to Grace's father, and it's very interesting how obviously these characters have known Grace before our dad took over, right? And before he took over, she was a capital biatch. He brings her this gift. It's a rocking horse. Obviously, she's a little too big for it these days, but when she was younger, she really liked him. So it's actually a very sweet gift and thoughtful. And while maybe she couldn't use it or maybe use it much, it still would have been a nice gift for her, I think, just to have, like, as decor. But, he basically saves it as, yes, you knew that I like these and I need to give so-and-so a gift soon. You're so smart. And Dad's just sitting there like, yeah, okay, yeah. But the whole collective, like, staff behind them are, like, ready to be like, oh my god, we're gonna have to clean up a dead body in a second. Because she was just that rude before, right? And I just love the fact that this show is able to do so much bonding in a way that you normally wouldn't see in these shows, because it's usually rushing to the end of like, I gotta avoid being a villainess, or some of these shows, I want to be a villainess, so I'm trying to get exiled. Where this show is just like, the dad's convinced he's just here. He's just living it, and he's like, hey, I'm such a weeb, I'm going to try to play this, I know she's supposed to be the MC, I'm gonna try to do this, but also I'm going to activate dad mode and just naturally navigate things. That you have someone who's supposed to be the daughter, then ending up more like the father figure towards who's supposed to be the father, because he's playing Beyblades with the goddamn blacksmith, and he's like kind of down the dumps, like, I don't really feel like I belong here, I look at my wife, I look at this and that, I feel like I don't belong in the position I am, I'm not really fit for it. Insert Grace, dad mode activated, don't you ever talk like that, you are awesome, blah blah blah. And it's like, on paper the show probably shouldn't work this well. I'm not saying it shouldn't work at all, but it shouldn't be borderline masterpiece level is what I'm saying. But somehow the way they execute it, it just works so great. And the more I think of certain aspects about the show, like the mom and daughter are fully content with the dad being in this game. And that is insane. Dad's rotting away in a comatose state in the bed. And they're like, we're just going to keep playing the game. Oh, yes, I get to finally do an action command. Because half these visual novels, like, there's barely anything you can do in it, right? It's just like selecting a few key points. And the fact that they're just so casual about it is insane. Like, I still can't get over, what was it, like 2-3 episodes back? They were getting a delivery, and they just let the game continue to play as dad's, you know, doing shit in the game. It's like, the series is borderline stupid and borderline genius all in one, and it creates such an interesting concoction. I've been saying it, though, over the past handful of videos, that I felt like the show visually has gotten better than when you like, if you look at the show prior to the family realizing he's in the game, compared to after, visually I think it's like 2 or 3 times more engaging. And I saw some people say this, and I actually really agree with this statement. I'm not sure if it's true or not, but when you actually look at the actual game animation, like sometimes like when they're looking at the game or different visuals of it, the game has actually improved the more they've understood about it. And I think this was an intentional design choice of letting the show become more visually engaging the more real it got and the more self-aware characters have become with it. I think that's a really cool detail that, you know, you might not notice it initially, but if you really pay attention, you compare, say, like a couple scenes from episode 1 or 2, compare it to where we've been at with action or just general walking animation in the show, it is a lot better. Either way, it does feel like they're doing things differently now. I do question where we want to go by the end of the first season. I would hope they have plans for a second season just because there's clearly a lot left to explore. But the more characters I'm getting introduced to, I love her father. I'm interested to learn maybe about the mother. Is the mother kind of bitchy? Is that where she got it initially from? Or is both parents really nice and she was just a spoiled brat of a kid? Time will tell, I suppose. But either way, another really good episode. Felt more like an OVA, like we're doing side quests rather than a main plot point, but I'm okay with that just because this is a bit of an unorthodox style storytelling to begin with. But as long as we continue to see the family just play the game with them, I think we're going to be in good hands. You let me know your thoughts and feelings down below. What did you think of the episode? Your favorite moment? I love the bait and switch myself about how it wasn't fat, but she actually packed on muscle as she thought she was being assaulted by, you forced me to eat this food, damn it. I just thought that was brilliant, but your feelings down below. Be sure to leave a like if you enjoyed, subscribe if you're new around here, of course, ring that bell, and like I mentioned, we got those full live reactions over on Patreon, and hey, while you're over there, I'll also give you a video shout out. So today we got Mr. Dreamer, Kusho, Sebastian Price, Jewel, Scott Mondarino, Monster Enthusiast, Akado, James, and we also have Aris Coteris. So I appreciate the support, everyone. Please take care, and you'll have a good one.